The 10 horrifying and mysterious archaeological discoveries in recent years that frightened experts. In archaeology, finding fragments of human bones or faint traces of death from thousands of years ago is an everyday occurrence. But some discoveries are not just simple fossils or artifacts. They are doors opening to dark memories, places where history doesn't want to be touched. Hello everyone! Welcome to 10 Minutes Discovery, where we unveil the past and explore mysteries that make even archaeologists shudder. Do you think you're brave enough to face the truth behind mass graves containing dozens of chained bodies? Or the mummified corpse strangled by a bizarre ritual that no one has been able to explain to this day? The discoveries we're about to share are not for the faint-hearted, because they are not just archaeological evidence, but cold messages from the realm of the dead. There are skeletons buried in screaming postures, ancient rooms filled with sacrificial offerings, and sites revealing terrifying brutality humans have inflicted upon one another. Are you ready to explore? Join us as we follow the traces of the past, but be careful. Once this door of memories opens, you'll never look at history the same way again. Now, let's begin our journey of discovery. A nearly intact Korean royal tomb after 1,000 years. Kaesong, the former glorious capital of the Goryeo dynasty from 918 to 1392, has now become the center of global attention after North Korean archaeologists discovered a royal tomb dating back nearly 1,000 years. It has been identified as the final resting place of King Sukjeong, the 15th ruler of a dynasty that once reigned across East Asia. The story began with a team of experts from the National Heritage Preservation Agency and the State Academy of Sciences of North Korea, who spent months studying, analyzing soil layers, and ancient traces to precisely locate the tomb. Then followed 20 days of continuous excavation, finally revealing the entrance to the deep underground chamber, a place holding the soul of an era long past. The tomb measures approximately 95 feet in length, divided into 3 separate sections, separated by thick layers of earth and rock, indicating a complex architecture and an extremely meticulous effort to build an eternal resting place for the emperor. Yet, what astonished the most was the remarkably well-preserved state of King Sukjeong's body, who ruled in the late 11th century, born in 1054 and died in 1105. Nearly 1,000 years after his passing, his remains still retain their original form, leaving scientists both amazed and puzzled. Was there a special embalming technique used? Or did Kaesong's unique soil and environmental conditions preserve the king's body naturally? These mysteries are now under scientific investigation, opening a completely new approach to preservation science in East Asian civilization. It's no coincidence that Kaesong became the site of this monumental archaeological milestone. This city was once the political, religious, and cultural heart of the Goryeo kingdom, the center of supreme power in Buddhism during its golden age. The discovery of King Sukjeong's tomb here not only carries immense symbolic value, but also helps historians corroborate ancient records about Kaesong's role in the formation and development of Korea's history. King Sukjeong is recognized for promoting numerous reforms and playing a vital role in modernizing the kingdom at that time. One of his most notable achievements was issuing the first official currency in Korean history, marking a clear shift from a barter economy to a monetary system. Furthermore, the establishment of the second capital, Namgyong, known today as Seoul, demonstrates the king's strategic vision in expanding territorial influence and developing a new administrative center for the nation. Thanks to these major decisions, the Goryeo kingdom under Sukjeong entered a period of stability, development, and deeper integration with neighboring cultures. Therefore, his tomb is not only a burial site, but also a cultural treasure, preserving the legacy of a glorious era. Each layer of earth and rock unearthed is a page of history being turned. Every artifact discovered inside could be a key to deeper understanding of the life, beliefs, and social system of that time. Because of this, archaeologists see this discovery not merely as historical evidence, but as a priceless opportunity to reconstruct the full panorama of the Goryeo civilization, a civilization once considered a bridge connecting ancient China and Japan. Currently, scientists are conducting further in-depth analyses of the remains, artifacts, and architectural structures inside the tomb to learn more about construction techniques, royal funeral rites, and the lifestyle of the elite during that period. Every clue uncovered could lead to unexpected breakthroughs in decoding medieval Korean peninsula history. This discovery not only offers humanity a more authentic view of a historically mysterious period, but also proves that beneath the seemingly lifeless soil of Kaesong, many secrets are still waiting to be awakened. And as each ancient stone is lifted from the ground, we not only touch tangible heritage, but also listen to whispers from the past, a past once radiant and powerful, now slowly coming back to life through every archaeological dig. Fascinating, isn't it? The lost legs of a 3,000-year-old Egyptian queen. In the world of archaeology, where the past is always hidden beneath thick layers of dust and time, sometimes a small bone fragment, a piece of mummy cloth, or an otherwise insignificant object can open up an entire lost chapter of history. And this time, the restored piece is not just a missing part of a body, but the final piece in the story of one of the most legendary women of ancient Egypt, Queen Nefertari. More than a century after her tomb was discovered, scientists have finally confirmed that the mummy legs long suspected and debated over are indeed hers, the symbol of beauty, power, and wisdom of the pharaoh Ramses II's dynasty. The journey to identify these legs began in the Valley of the Queens, the resting place of Egypt's queens and princesses during the New Kingdom period. In 1904, the lavish tomb believed to be Nefertari's was excavated. Its walls were adorned with stunning paintings depicting a noblewoman standing beside the pharaoh in majestic splendor. However, inside the tomb, her body was incomplete. Apart from funerary items and evidence confirming this was the resting place of a royal figure, only a dismembered pair of mummified legs was found. For over 100 years, the question lingered: do these legs really belong to Nefertari? Such doubts were understandable. This land, scattered with hundreds of ancient tombs, had seen many disturbances, including tomb reuse, floods washing away artifacts, and plundering over thousands of years. The Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens are like underground museums, beautiful yet chaotic, grand yet disorderly. In such a context, nothing could be taken for granted. Even artifacts found inside a tomb might not belong to the person portrayed on its walls. To pierce through this historical fog, an international research team led by Dr. Joanne Fletcher from the University of York, UK, conducted the most comprehensive analysis ever performed on a mummy's body part. The disputed legs, currently housed at the Egyptian Museum in Turin, Italy, became the centerpiece of a years-long investigation. The experts used radiocarbon dating to determine the tissue's age. Then X-rays were taken to analyze the bone structure and compare the knees with hundreds of ancient and modern samples. They went further, examining every detail of the mummification technique, from the type of wrapping cloth, the way the legs were bound, to the chemical composition of the embalming materials. The results were astonishing. The legs belonged to a woman between 40 and 50 years old, consistent with the estimated age of Nefertari at her death around 1250 BC. The wrapping cloth and embalming substances revealed an extremely sophisticated technique reserved only for royalty or the highest elite. Chemical analysis of resins and oils in the embalming materials also matched those found in other royal mummies of the same period. There was no longer any doubt. After 3,000 years of wandering, these legs belonged to Queen Nefertari, the woman whom Pharaoh Ramses II loved and honored in countless temples and inscriptions. But the significance of this discovery goes beyond simply naming a lost body part. It is a complete restoration of the image of a historical figure who embodied beauty and power. Nefertari was not only the wife of one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs, but also his partner in many significant political events. In surviving reliefs, she appears as a quintessential symbol of female power in antiquity, not merely standing behind the throne, but a silent force influencing the court. According to Dr. Fletcher, Nefertari was not just the beauty beside Ramses, but the silent strength of an empire. Now that the final piece of her body has returned to its rightful owner, the past once seemingly lost forever has come alive once again. In the quiet halls of a museum in Turin, those legs tell a story of the endurance of memory, a millennia-long journey reconnecting the broken link between humanity and history. And it is a reminder that no matter how deeply buried, historical truth will eventually be found, thanks to the intelligence, perseverance, and unending passion of those who seek light from beneath the earth. A 7,000-year-old portrait of a white woman in Africa. Amid the harsh sun and scorching sands of the Namib Desert, a place where modern life seems almost impossible to thrive, lies a discovery that has stunned both archaeologists and the international scientific community. An ancient portrait carved on stone near Mount Bolandabaika, the tallest peak in this desert, standing at 8,560 feet above sea level, has forced the world to rethink what we thought we knew about human history. What makes this artwork so unbelievably unique is its central figure, a white noblewoman dressed and styled just like a modern European woman, standing among dark-skinned people in a rock painting dated to around 7,000 years ago, roughly 6,000 BCE. This extraordinary find was first uncovered in 1927 by a French engineer during a geological survey in Kuksiti, a region adjacent to Mount Bolandabaika, an area scientists identify as once inhabited by prehistoric communities in Namibia. The painting is etched onto a large rock amidst a barren, wild land, surrounded by sand dunes towering up to 820 feet, one of the driest places on Earth. This region experiences nearly no rainfall year-round and remains sparsely populated today, mostly by dark-skinned residents, making it one of the lowest population densities in the world. In the artwork, amid images of typical sub-Saharan indigenous people with dark skin and simple clothing, stands a striking figure. A white lady with smooth, pale skin, neatly styled hair in an elegant bun, wearing a short-sleeved, finely tailored top and form-fitting pants, a fashion style that clashes sharply with our understanding of ancient African cultures. Moreover, this woman is adorned with intricate jewelry, bracelets, thigh bands, and necklaces made of delicate pearls, details so precise that many researchers insist this is not a product of imagination, but a true-to-life depiction of a real person. Professor Ibi Hilauer, a renowned archaeologist who personally examined the painting, declared bluntly that this is a highly realistic work dating back 7,000 years. His statement immediately sparked fierce debate. According to historical records and mainstream archaeology, Europeans only began to set foot in southern Africa in the 15th century. The Portuguese, Dutch, and later the British appeared in northern Namibia much later, and even the Phoenicians, skilled ancient mariners, are only thought to have passed by this region about 2,000 years ago by sea. So how could an image of a white woman with such a modern and noble appearance appear in the Namib desert 7,000 years ago? One hypothesis was that of the extraordinary imagination of prehistoric artists, but this idea quickly faced strong rebuttals. Prehistoric art, especially rock carvings, usually exhibit high fidelity to reality. Ancient artists, living in wild and challenging environments, typically recorded only what they saw, everyday events like hunting, rituals, or social interaction. The notion that they could imagine across time to depict a European woman in aristocratic attire with tight pants, a short-sleeved shirt, and elaborate jewelry is nearly impossible, especially since textile weaving and sophisticated jewelry making had not yet developed. Another striking fact is that according to historical surveys, humans only began wearing structured clothing around 4,600 years ago. Meanwhile, prehistoric Africans mostly used animal skins and plant leaves for clothing for many centuries after. This makes the existence of such a modern figure 7,000 years ago even more puzzling, raising new hypotheses. Could an advanced civilization have existed and disappeared without our knowledge? Or is this evidence of some ancient cultural exchange that mainstream history has yet to recognize? All these remain open questions. The ancient painting still stands alone in the Namib desert, defying all our assumptions about the past. Could there be something missing from human history? Could art be not only a mirror reflecting reality, but also a door opening onto truths that time tried to hide? With every step forward in archaeology, part of this mysterious veil is lifted, yet deeper questions arise, prompting us to wonder, is the history we know really the whole story? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. A 300-400-year-old Minoan tomb beneath an olive tree. Amid the peaceful countryside of southeastern Crete, where ancient olive trees have cast cool shade for hundreds of years, an extraordinary event recently astonished the Greek archaeological community. It all began when a local farmer, on a blazing hot afternoon much like any other, decided to park his car under the shade of a large olive tree in his yard to escape the heat. Little did he know, this seemingly simple act would lead to a groundbreaking archaeological discovery. a 3,400-year-old tomb from the late period of the legendary Minoan civilization, lying just beneath the land he tended every day. The car started sinking into the ground unusually, first by a few inches, then rapidly tilting to one side. Thinking a broken irrigation system had flooded and softened the soil, the farmer tried everything he could to pull the vehicle out. But when the ground gave way, instead of rocks or roots, he uncovered several ceramic coffins buried deep underground. Shocked by his find, he immediately alerted the authorities. A nationwide excavation soon began. Archaeologists rushed to the site and quickly confirmed that the farmer had accidentally punctured the roof of an ancient tomb carved into soft limestone, a typical technique of the late Minoan period, dated between 1400 and 1200 BCE. The tomb had been carefully sealed with large stone slabs and likely had a side entrance with a trench, but over time it had been completely buried. The sinking car incident turned out to be the key that opened a door to the past, a past buried under the dust of millennia. Inside the tomb, archaeologists found two small ceramic coffins known as larnags, distinctive containers used in Minoan burial rituals. Despite the passage of thousands of years, the bodies inside were well preserved thanks to the dry and sealed conditions. The two skeletons were found in a fetal position, knees drawn up, an ancient burial posture symbolizing beliefs in rebirth and reincarnation within Minoan culture. Alongside the bodies were two sets of ritual pots and a collection of colorful jewelry, possibly symbols of social status or spiritual significance. The tomb's condition was described as remarkable, not only because the artifacts inside were almost intact, but also because most tombs from this era have been looted or eroded over time. Finding such a pristine tomb is extremely rare. This site serves not only as a vivid testament to Minoan craftsmanship and religious beliefs, but also as a precious archive for researchers to better understand a civilization that vanished thousands of years ago. The Minoan civilization, famous for the Palace of Knossos, the undeciphered linear A script, and vibrant frescoes depicting festivals and religious ceremonies, has long been regarded as the pinnacle of prehistoric Mediterranean culture. The discovery of a tomb from the civilization's final phase in an everyday setting, not in a formal archaeological site or through scientific surveying, has reignited hopes that beneath the seemingly ordinary soil of Crete lie many untold historical secrets. Now, the two skeletons are being transported to laboratories for detailed analysis. Scientists will employ DNA technology, X-rays, and bone measurements to determine age, gender, health conditions, and diet of the deceased. Meanwhile, the burial items will be examined for dating, origin, and craftsmanship techniques, allowing scholars to reconstruct the late Minoan lifestyle, spiritual beliefs, and possibly social relationships. A strange coincidence, parking a car in the wrong spot, has unearthed a chapter of history buried underground for more than 3 millennia. It reminds us that every inch of earth beneath our feet might hide a piece of human history. Sometimes, the biggest stories don't come from grand excavations, but start from the simplest moments, like seeking shade under an old olive tree. Because beneath that seemingly quiet soil, a story once forgotten by time may be waiting to be told. The intact tomb of ancient Roman athletes. Europe is renowned for countless ancient tombs scattered across its historically rich lands, but not all discoveries bring such fascinating and unique stories as this one. Recently, in Case Ross, a little-known area on the western outskirts of Rome, rarely included in typical archaeological routes, workers accidentally uncovered an extremely rare ancient tomb. What made this find extraordinary was not only the tomb's near-perfect preservation, but also the fact that it served as the final resting place of what are believed to be Roman athletes from over 2,300 years ago, during the early years of the Roman Republic. The story began when a bulldozer, clearing the ground for an underground construction project, unexpectedly revealed the entrance to a subterranean tomb. Archaeologists quickly arrived on site and confirmed this was no ordinary grave. It was the tomb of the athletes, containing the remains of 4 individuals, 3 middle-aged men and 1 woman whose age remains undetermined. Initial findings excited researchers greatly, as the tomb was found in an unexpected location and held valuable artifacts reflecting life and culture from early Roman times. Based on a coin discovered next to the skeletons, archaeologists dated the tomb to between 335 and 312 BCE, a period when the Roman Republic was expanding and flourishing. The special coin, bearing the image of the goddess Minerva's head on one side and a horse's head on the other, inscribed with the word Romano, provided strong evidence of the tomb's date and the social status of those buried within. In addition, a large amount of leftover food in containers holding items such as rabbit, lamb, goat, and chicken remains were found, indicating these individuals were well cared for, receiving diverse and nutritious meals, a reflection of their wealth and power. Most notably, 2 curved tools known as strigils were discovered. Strigils were common personal hygiene instruments used in ancient Roman baths. Athletes used them to scrape sweat, dirt, and excess oil off their skin after training and competitions. The presence of these tools in the tomb strongly suggests the deceased were indeed athletes, a distinguished social group in ancient Rome who held important and respected roles. The quality of the glazed pottery inside the tomb further supports that these individuals belonged to the upper class or held privileged positions, possibly as socially prominent athletes or even sports officials during ancient Rome. Currently, researchers are conducting DNA tests to clarify familial relationships among the buried, while also studying pollen and plant remains to reconstruct the ancient ecosystem of the region. Laser scanning technology is being employed to create detailed maps of the entire archaeological site, searching for additional potential relics. One of the most interesting aspects is the tomb's location. Case Rosse sits on terrain shaped by ancient volcanic activity, resulting in porous soil less disturbed by farming or construction over centuries, which helped preserve the tomb intact. Nearby, when building the San Giovanni subway station, remains of a wealthy ancient Roman city were discovered, indicating this area was once a thriving center of diverse economy and culture. This newly found tomb is not only a vivid testament to early Roman sports and culture, but also opens the door for deeper exploration into the history of Western Rome, a land once forgotten, yet rich with mysteries waiting to be unraveled. This discovery reinforces that history always holds surprises, and every archaeological find helps us better understand the lives, society, and people of past eras. Now, experts worldwide are turning their attention to Case Ross, eagerly anticipating more secrets to be revealed from the Tomb of the Athletes, where the worlds of history, sport, and ancient Roman culture converge in legendary fashion. A perfectly preserved marine fossil. After 525 million years. Deep within the ancient rock layers buried beneath Yunnan Province, China, a region once submerged under a primordial ocean 500 million years ago, scientists have uncovered a rare treasure of time, an almost complete fossil specimen of a tentacled marine creature known scientifically as Gallia plumosus. What makes this discovery so profoundly striking is not only its age, dating back 525 million years, but also the near-perfect state of preservation, a feat paleontologists have dreamed of for decades. This is the first time humanity has witnessed a fully intact Gallia plumosus specimen, from its soft body and tentacle system to the microscopic structures that typically decay over time. Gallia plumosus lived during the Cambrian period, a historic era known as the Cambrian explosion, when complex life forms rapidly emerged on Earth. The ancient marine environment of that time was home to an astonishing diversity of bizarre life forms, with this tentacled species among them. With long, slender tentacles arranged in a ring around its mouth, likely used to capture plankton, Gallia plumosus is believed to have played a vital role in the food chain of the primordial ocean. The exceptional preservation of its entire structure after more than 500 million years allows scientists to better understand its survival strategies, movement, and ecological role within ancient ecosystems. Professor David Savater from the University of Leicester, UK, co-leader of the research team, remarked that this fossil is not only visually stunning, but also a rare piece of evidence that can unlock entirely new perspectives on the evolutionary history of animals. Previously, most similar fossils only consisted of small fragments, distorted or eroded by time and geological processes. But this specimen remains intact and retains soft tissue details, a rarity in paleontology, as soft tissues typically decompose completely within weeks or months. Researchers are continuing detailed analyses, including CT scanning to reconstruct three-dimensional images and microscopic surveys to identify preserved biological components, aiming to clarify the evolutionary position of this species within the tree of life. The data gathered could shed light on the development of modern animals, particularly tentacled groups such as jellyfish, corals, and mollusks, still major mysteries in evolutionary history. This discovery marks a significant leap forward in the study of Cambrian life forms and clearly demonstrates that many great secrets remain buried beneath the Earth's surface. A small, silent fossil resting for hundreds of millions of years now has the power to transform our understanding of life's origins. Perhaps this is why archaeology, though often quiet and unassuming, remains the key to unlocking the earliest chapters in the grand story called Earth's history. The 30 perfectly preserved mummies in a 4,300-year-old tomb beneath the Egyptian desert. When we think of ancient Egypt, the majestic pyramids and mysterious mummies often spark endless curiosity about a brilliant and tradition-rich civilization. Yet, few could have imagined that just recently, Egyptian archaeologists uncovered an unprecedented chapter in archaeology by discovering 30 perfectly preserved mummies buried deep beneath the ground, some 36 feet down, in a 4,300-year-old tomb located in the western desert near the Step Pyramid, one of the oldest stone structures in the world. This discovery has not only shaken the archaeological community, but also raised many questions about the burial practices and beliefs of ancient Egyptians. The tomb containing these mummies dates back to the Old Kingdom, 5th dynasty, spanning from 2494 to 2354 BCE, a period marked by peak developments in architecture and funerary art in Egypt. What makes this find particularly remarkable is that all the mummies were preserved inside limestone coffins, carefully sealed with a special kind of mortar that maintained the integrity of both the remains and the coffins for millennia. Abdelhakim Karar, the archaeologist supervising the excavation, stated that this is the first time in Egypt's archaeological history that a tomb containing as many as 30 intact mummies has been uncovered at once, an enormous and invaluable number for researchers. The site of the excavation is Saqqara, a region famous as the burial ground for ancient Egyptian nobility, which has long been plagued by illegal digs as tomb robbers sought to steal treasures. However, what stunned experts was the absolute preservation of the limestone coffins and the wooden sarcophagi inside the tomb, showing no signs of disturbance or tampering. This level of preservation is rare, especially considering that over thousands of years, many tombs in Saqqara have been looted, leading to the loss of priceless heritage. This intact state might hold the key to understanding the preservation techniques and the respect ancient Egyptian society held for their deceased. Another intriguing aspect of this discovery lies in how the mummies were arranged. Unlike typical tombs where bodies are placed inside chambers or vaults, these mummies were positioned within small wall niches inside the tomb. This unusual burial style has prompted archaeologists to hypothesize about its meaning and purpose. Could it represent a special form of veneration, a spiritual ritual, or perhaps an innovative preservation method developed by the ancient Egyptians? Answers will emerge when experts conduct detailed examinations of the mummies early next week. This analysis will not only determine the exact age, sex, and health conditions of the individuals, but may also reveal valuable insights into the lifestyles, beliefs, and burial customs of 5th dynasty Egypt. Each mummy is a living piece of the puzzle, a treasure trove of information about a once glorious civilization whose mysteries remain only partially unraveled. Discovering 30 intact mummies in such an ancient tomb brings immense archaeological value and sparks worldwide admiration and curiosity about Egypt's history. It demonstrates the timeless abilities of the ancient Egyptians to preserve their heritage and honor their dead, enriching our understanding of one of humanity's oldest and most complex civilizations. The world's largest tomb, hiding secrets for centuries. Deep beneath Ukraine's peaceful port city of Odessa lies a mysterious underground world, devoid of sunlight and modern life, filled only with silence and cold stone walls. That is the Odessa Catacombs, a vast labyrinth stretching approximately 1,550 miles, considered the largest tomb complex in the world, far surpassing the famous Paris catacombs in both scale and historical depth. Picture a tunnel running all the way from Ukraine to Paris. That's the length of this subterranean maze. Entering it could mean disappearing forever. The Odessa Catacombs began forming in the early 1600s, carved largely from local limestone, the same material that gave rise to this bizarre subterranean labyrinth. As the city above built up, miners left behind a tangled network of tunnels below. Over centuries, these passages were expanded, deepened, and connected, gradually becoming a world unto themselves, completely separate from the surface. Unplanned expansions have made the system increasingly intricate. More than 1,000 entrance points are scattered throughout the city, many unknown even to locals. But the Odessa Catacombs aren't just monotonous tunnels. Throughout their history, they've served as dwellings, shelters, and underground hubs for successive generations. During World War II, when Nazi forces attacked Odessa, the catacombs sheltered Soviet troops who turned them into fully functioning bases, complete with dining halls, recreation rooms, kitchens, and even hospitals. These cold walls witnessed pain, survival, and fragile hope amid the horrors of war. Today, the Odessa Catacombs remain a silent witness to the past and a challenging destination for daring explorers. Many have ventured deep into these limestone depths to explore, film, and collect artifacts. Old coins, rotting military uniforms, and everyday items from turbulent times, all relics of a forgotten past. Every step into the void is more than just a physical journey. It's a voyage through layers of memory long buried. However, the Odessa Catacombs are not for everyone. With no GPS signal, no lighting, few accurate maps, and an incredibly complex layout, countless explorers have become lost, never to return. Several noted disappearances, even among experienced spelunkers, are on record. Lost within the endless sameness of passages, every echo and wrong turn could lead to a silent death. This is what gives the Odessa Catacombs their haunting allure, a gateway to another world where the line between life and death grows perilously thin. Unlike the Paris catacombs, with their well-known displays of millions of skulls, Odessa is less symbolic of death and more grand in its sheer scale. 5 times larger than Paris's network, its origins spanning a much longer history. Not by design, but by accident, history, war, and time have conspired to create a second city beneath Odessa. Though local authorities have sealed most entrances for safety, hundreds more remain, hidden in residential areas, backyards, and basements, long-forgotten access points that draw the bravest explorers. Each expedition into the Odessa Catacombs is a test of memory, courage, and survival skills. With its deep historical roots, immense scale, and untold stories, the Odessa Catacombs stand as a singular archaeological marvel and a living symbol of contrasts, light and darkness, memory and present, life and secrets buried in limestone for more than 400 years. A 5,000-year-old shirt found in an Egyptian tomb. Among the countless archaeological artifacts discovered in Egypt, a land often hailed as the cradle of one of humanity's most brilliant civilizations, a seemingly fragile, perishable shirt has unexpectedly become the center of archaeological fascination. The garment, known as the Tarkhan dress, has been dated to around 3482 BCE, making it the oldest known woven garment ever discovered in the world. What's astonishing is not only its age, over 5,000 years old, but also its extraordinary craftsmanship. From its meticulously sewn seams, the elegant V-shaped neckline, to the tiny pleats at the chest that appear to have been executed with a level of skill far beyond what we might imagine from prehistoric tailoring. Discovered in an unmarked ancient Egyptian tomb, the Tarkhan dress has remarkably survived for millennia almost intact, a near miracle for any textile made from plant fibers or animal hides, which naturally decay over time. According to Alice Stevenson, curator at the Petrie Museum of Egyptian Archaeology at University College London, most ancient fabrics found at archaeological sites are rarely more than 2,000 years old. The fact that the Tarkhan dress has lasted more than twice as long makes it an invaluable artifact, not just for its rarity, but for the insight it offers into the lifestyle, aesthetics, and social structures of early Egyptian civilization. The Tarkhan dress isn't simply a piece of ancient fabric, it's a fully constructed garment. If it were faithfully recreated today, its design could rival that of clothing sold in modern fashion boutiques. The sleeves are carefully tailored, the V-neck is stylish and contemporary, and the tiny, evenly spaced pleats on the chest demonstrate a remarkable level of technical sophistication. Such details couldn't have been accidental. They are the result of expert craftsmanship, likely carried out by highly skilled artisans living in a society with distinct social hierarchies, where the elite had both the desire and the means to commission such high-quality garments. This dress was also not a ceremonial offering or symbolic artifact. Wrinkles at the elbows and underarms suggest it was actually worn, possibly even on a regular basis, which further supports the idea that it was a real part of daily life in ancient Egypt. According to Jana Jones, a researcher at Macquarie University in Australia, only the nobility would have had the privilege to own such garments. She notes that among the items ancient Egyptians believed they needed in the afterlife, cloaks and robes were considered as important as food, cosmetics, and sacred objects. Hieroglyphic depictions of clothing resembling the Tarkhan dress were carved on tomb walls thousands of years ago, reinforcing the significant role of fashion in both the material and spiritual life of ancient peoples. Strangely, this precious artifact was nearly lost to history. After being sent to the Petrie Museum in the early 1900s, the dress was accidentally mixed in with a pile of unremarkable fabric scraps. It wasn't until 1977, during a reorganization of the museum's storage, that conservation experts realized the fabric was not just a tattered remnant, but a nearly complete wearable garment, intact in both form and construction. This discovery not only reshaped perceptions of neglected artifacts, but also emphasized the critical importance of careful conservation and cataloging in museums worldwide. Today, the Tarkhan dress stands as an archaeological icon, its value far surpassing fashion. It is a vivid testament to the sophistication and innovation of ancient people who were not only capable of building pyramids and crafting gold, but also of tailoring, pleating, and stitching with remarkable precision. It reminds us that fashion, aesthetics, and personal expression are not modern inventions, but have existed, vibrantly and beautifully, since the very dawn of civilization. The Headless Tomb of the Ancient Maya. Deep within the dense tropical jungle of Chiapas, Mexico, where the ancient ruins of the Maya Empire lie silently whispering of the past, archaeologists have uncovered a mysterious tomb beneath a temple in Bonampak, a site renowned for its vibrant, vivid, and brutal frescoes. This tomb, containing the headless remains of a man, is not merely an archaeological find, but a chilling glimpse into the darker, lesser-known aspects of ancient Maya civilization, where art, ritual, and blood intertwined in sacred spaces. Around 790 CE, Bonampak was a bustling city home to thousands of Maya inhabitants. At its heart stood a sacred three-room temple, dubbed the Painted Room for its vivid frescoes depicting the realities of Maya life, rituals, and warfare. The first room portrays the presentation of a young heir, while the third illustrates a sacred bloodletting ritual. But it is the second room that sends shivers down the spines of researchers. A fresco depicting gruesome torture, severed fingers, extracted fingernails, a warrior executed and beheaded. And directly beneath this painting, the tomb was found. The discovery was not the result of a planned excavation, but an unexpected outcome following a series of earthquakes between 2005 and 2007 that damaged many ancient structures in Bonampak. During restoration efforts, using ground-penetrating radar, archaeologists uncovered a small burial chamber beneath a layer of fine white plaster. Inside lay the remains of a man, aged approximately 35 to 42, suffering from arthritis, and crucially, headless. The tomb was rudimentary yet carefully sealed, positioned precisely where the Maya had painted the beheading scene, a placement too exact to be mere coincidence. Who was the man in the tomb? Was he the figure depicted in the fresco? A captive executed? A warrior from a rival faction sacrificed? Or perhaps a trusted member of the ruling class eliminated for political or ritualistic reasons? Archaeologist Emiliano Galaga Murrieta suggests that, while the man's identity remains unknown, the tomb's location and its unique burial style indicate he was someone of significance. Curiously, the remains were adorned with valuable jewelry, including jade earrings, a necklace, and iridescent shell bracelets, items reserved for the elite of that era. If this were a looted tomb, such treasures would likely have been taken. This suggests the tomb was never disturbed and may have been deliberately concealed. Galaga further asserts, all signs point to this being a secret ritual, a calculated concealment by the ancient Maya. They even built a shrine above it to prevent future generations from discovering it. Alongside the remains and jewelry, the tomb contained a stone knife and a gypsum flower vase, items possibly linked to sacrificial rituals. A small hole at the base of the vase may have been used to collect blood, a common practice in Maya religious ceremonies. This strengthens the hypothesis that the man was a victim of a live sacrifice, possibly offered to appease the gods. One major question remains unanswered. Where is his head? Some theories suggest the head was buried separately in a ritualistic act to enhance the sacrifice's value or to protect the soul. Researchers are conducting DNA analysis and radiocarbon dating to clarify the man's connection to others who lived in Bonampak, particularly King Chan Muan II, who ruled during the period when the frescoes were created. He could have been a betrayed relative or a high-ranking enemy warrior kept as a sacred trophy before being sacrificed in the temple. Yet, even if he was a Bonampak native, this does not rule out his role as a sacrificial victim. Among the Maya, even nobles could be offered up if necessary. Maya culture was not merely about astronomy or architectural artistry. It was a world where religion, politics, and violence merged into a rigid and fearsome belief system. As you can see, archaeology never fails to surprise us, with ancient tombs, skeletons, and even perfectly preserved mummies. Each discovery holds a story waiting to be uncovered. What about you? What are your thoughts on these findings? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on more fascinating discoveries. That's it for now. Thanks for watching and see you next time.